Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. It is time once again for Mornings with the Leader Man. I am Steve Leader Adams, along with the Colonel, the retired Marine Colonel Jeff Drummond. Good morning, Colonel.
Hey, good morning, Moore County. If you're waking up today and you're taking a ride and you happen to see those flags and you haven't figured it out yet, it's in remembrance of 9/11. You got a lot of kids in high school, seniors in high school that are 18, maybe not quite 18, that weren't alive. Don't have any firsthand recognition of that. A generation has passed. And it's important, if you're one of those parents with one of those kids in school, to let them know, make sure they understand what this is all about and what happened. I spent most of, a good portion of 1982 and 1983 sitting in a place called Beirut, Lebanon. Lots of things happened there. Lebanon at the time was a majority Christian nation. It is no longer. And it's a much worse off place for having turned into something other than a Christian nation. And if you don't understand that these individuals are here now in this country starting to do the same things that happened over there, then you're mistaken. For you atheists out there that like to, what's that, freedom from religion, etc. You don't like Christians. You get away with pushing against the Christian religion and pushing it into a corner. Well, there'll come a time when you're going to try to have to push against a Muslim, Islam religion, and you're going to lose. And you're going to understand what this is all about. So, today, take a long, hard look at what this is all about, what's going on here. And you might want to sit up and take notice. It's not going to pass you by.
Well said, Colonel. Don't forget, of course, this program is being seen around the world on our live video stream. That's available right now at talk973.com. Top middle of the page of the homepage is where the link's located. If you're on your mobile device, YouTube will do the work. Just put Mornings with the Leader Man in the search. If you're on your mobile device just needing our audio stream, that's available too. Simply get a streaming app such as TuneIn, iTunes, or Streema, and put WEEB in the search, or you can get it from our website anytime. Upper right-hand corner of every page at talk973.com has an icon that says On the Air, Listen Live. Click that once and you're listening that quick. Weather for us today here in the Sand Hills area, the muggies continue and shall continue for the next 10 days. Partly cloudy, high of 92 today. Tonight, clear, 71. Tomorrow, we'll mix in a small chance of a thunderstorm. Otherwise, the same with a high of 94, heat index of 99. Tomorrow night, isolated thunderstorm, 72. Friday, more of the same with a high of 90. Saturday, partly cloudy, scattered thunderstorms, high of 86. Sunday, partly cloudy, thunderstorms, 90. 90 on Monday, 89 Tuesday. Right now around the Sand Hills, winds are calm, visibility down to 1 statute mile, so headlights on. You might can see them, but can they see you? Humidity maxed at 100%, dew point 66 and climbing. Its pressure is 3027, and it's foggy and 66 degrees currently here at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. All right, it is 7:36, 36 past the hour. Today is 9/11, and those that were alive on back in 2001 when this tragedy occurred, attack on our country, you know where you were at the time, what you were doing, and the disbelief you felt when you saw those towers come down, and all those lives that were lost, both victims and rescuers. So we pray for them on a daily basis. And we pray that it will never happen again. But it will. And we better be ready for it. Any other comments, Colonel?
No, I think, it's it doesn't get a lot of press. Media ignores a lot of the things that happen in the background with our and law enforcement in this country that actually break up and find some of these terrorist activities going on and take care of them, and it's not widespread. You know, it's like this. It just drives me crazy that you can have as much press with some gay couple that go into a Christian bakery with the only objective to put that guy out of business. But you know what? I'd like to see those two walk into a Muslim bakery. In fact, it's happened. Walked into a Muslim bakery, and a Muslim, hey, get out of here! I'm not taking your order. But that doesn't get any press, and they don't try to sue that guy and try to run him out of business. And you know, it's just it's amazing to me that these things are going on and are allowed to go on, and you know what's going on in Detroit and some of our other inner cities where you have enclaves of these individuals that are closing off streets and not allowing local law enforcement in and instituting their Sharia law. You know, it's you know, and it's just allowed to go on. It doesn't get a lot of wide press. You have to really go look for it, but it's happening here. There's more and more incidents of individuals, you know, perpetrating these acts, and they will continue to happen as long as nothing is done about them. And they're going to get worse, and there are going to be more and more of them. You can see the same pattern. Like I said, by the time I got to where I was in 1982, you know, it was just a daily occurrence, bombings and things like that. And we're not there yet, but I can see it.
Well, the math, too, because the average Muslim family has 8 kids. They will breed us out. No other way.
Yeah.
Let's see. Today's program is brought to you by, not only this morning's show brought to you by Weichert Realtors, Town and Country. Whether you're ready to buy, sell now, or even in a year from now, you call the experts at Weichert's to get the service you deserve when buying or selling your home. Weichert Realtors, Town and Country, 910-235-3685. That's 910-235-3685.
Today's program is brought to you by Wayback Wednesday. You know, teens don't know how good they have it with instant access to websites with lyrics. We used to have to sing stuff wrong for years and years until the truth destroyed us.
Yeah. What do you mean it's not that word? Yeah, you listen to a record and you thought you heard how it was said. And then somewhere you look up the lyrics and you say, that ain't what he said.
Yeah, sometimes I go on and, you know, read the printout so I know exactly what's being said. And sometimes, actually most of the time, it makes less sense when I can read it than when I can hear it.
Well, first there was Alexa. Now Amazon is introducing the new male assistant, Alex. He's not a very good listener, though.
Let's face it, they're always on. If you don't want Alexa listening in on your conversations and eavesdropping, Amazon is now introducing the male version of the digital assistant, the Alex.
Hey, Alex, can you give me today's forecast? Hello, Alex? You there? Can I please get today's forecast?
The Alex. He doesn't listen to anything.
Hello? Alex?
Yeah, I get a lot of that.
Well, today is time for installment 2 of What the Heck Is That Person in the Car Next to You Thinking?
Oh, damn.
Here we go.
And now, what the person in the car next to you is thinking.
If Anderson Cooper was on the Flintstones, he'd be Anderstone Cooper.
That was what the person in the car next to you was thinking.
No, that's not what I'd be thinking.
No, they're not saying you. It's the guy next to you.
Well, I know, but if I was absolutely daydreaming about Anderson Cooper, it would have nothing to do with the Flintstones. What a moron.
The makers of Juul have another apology about their enticing vape flavors for kids.
Oh, damn.
And the decision not to have Tickle Me Elmo as a new spokesperson.
Recently, lawmakers accused the makers of Juul e-cigarettes of breaking the law by running fraudulent advertising. We'd like to take this time to apologize. Flavors like bubblegum, chicken nuggets, cotton candy, peppermint lollipop, and Gerber's strained peaches for toddlers were probably not the best choices for our product.
No.
We've also decided not to run celebrity campaigns that include the spokespeople Tickle Me Elmo, Dora the Explorer, and SpongeBob SquarePants. Again, we apologize if our intent in advertising sent the wrong message or targeted the wrong demo. We're sorry. And happy vaping.
Yeah, I was reading a paper here, or, well, not the Pilot. I was reading an actual newspaper, and, they were reporting all these deaths and things attributed to the vaping. I mean, this stuff is actually immediately harmful to you, not long-term like smoking dope or smoking cigarettes, the accumulation of tar and other things. I mean, this thing will kill you right on the spot sometimes.
Since it's a cool smoke that goes in, and the difference in the basically the humidity in your lungs and in the smoke cause it to condensate and drip in your lungs.
You need to put these things down immediately. Mm-hmm. This is bad news, really bad.
It's worse than a cigarette.
Exactly. Well, worse than smoking, period.
Yeah.
And inhaling, and that includes all you dope smokers.
Well, have you ever wondered what Bryan Cranston would have looked like if he had actually done meth and not just played Walter White in Breaking Bad? Now you have the answer. The police in Galesburg, Illinois, are looking for a 50-year-old guy named Todd Barrick, who looks remarkably like Walter White. And he's also wanted for meth possession. He's still at large. Hopefully they've looked for him at small fast food chicken chains in Mexico, New Mexico, and meth labs hidden underneath the industrial laundromat and a secluded cabin in New Hampshire. But they still haven't found him. So if you see him, Walter White look-alike, call the police.
Maybe a bear got him.
We can only be so lucky.
Up in New Hampshire, they have lots of bears.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know why the producers did this, but they did. This is supposedly what it sounds like when a woman does an ancient Swedish herding call known as Kolning, followed by a good old American redneck hollering, "Oh boy." Here they are matched up. All right, knew you couldn't make your day without hearing that.
Yeah, okay. What's next? Hopefully we won't hear that one again.
2 men in Palm Coast, Florida, were arrested after they pulled out their guns, one of which was a BB gun, and the McDonald's drive-thru, claiming their food was cold. Here's the 911 call and the police talking about it on the internet.
I have 2 gentlemen through with guns. They pulled their guns on me, saying that their food was cold and demanded that food be made.
They paid for 5 hamburgers, and they felt that the hamburgers were not hot enough. So they sent them back, make some comments about, we don't play around with our food.
They didn't point the gun at me. They pulled it out and quote-unquote said, I do not play about my food. They're upset about the food being cold? Right. They're still after the first car at the window.
They're going to eat jail food instead. They can always make a complaint, but it probably won't get any warmer.
No, I guess not.
Well, dudes, let me do some math for you here, since you're lacking the skills. Those hamburgers aren't very big.
No, they aren't.
Consequently, they can't hold much heat.
Yeah.
The size has a difference as to how much heat they can hold. So about the time they come off the skillet, go onto a bun, and is handed to you just that quick, it's going to be cold. Especially if it's 31 in your 5 hamburger line. So quit being stupid, if that's possible.
No, in this case, I'm not sure it's possible.
All right, Good Samaritan, good news story here. A Ring doorbell conversation between a homeowner and a Good Samaritan who's returning a wallet he found in a driveway. It's a little choppy due to the Ring quality, but...
How can I help?
Boss man, hey, I found a wallet outside by the Escalade.
Yeah.
So I'm just returning it because it's sitting right there, right side by the driver's door.
Hey, I really appreciate it. I own the house. If you don't mind, just leave it right down there on the bottom of the doorstep. What's your name?
Moses.
Thank you, Moses.
Welcome, brother, man.
Not many people out there like you, buddy.
By the way, I took all the money out.
Yeah, I got my reward, thanks. Well, people aren't necessarily carrying any money anymore anyway.
Yeah, I use your credit card a few times.
Yeah.
Don't add the PIN number. But.
Well, PIN or won't necessarily know what the zip code is either.
Yeah.
But I got some cash that I've got locked up in the car if I ever need it. But I don't carry a lot in my wallet.
Let's see. Hasbro is selling a new game called Ms. Monopoly that fixes the wage gap by giving female players more money than male players to start and paying them more when they pass go. Instead of buying properties, you buy things invented by women, like Wi-Fi and chocolate chip cookies. And in honor of the game, Hasbro donated around $20,000 in real money to 3 teenage family inventors to help them out. Here's your soundbite.
Dear Ava, we believe in you and your invention. That's why you've been chosen to receive a first edition of the Miss Monopoly game.
We hope that you have fun playing the game and learn about the women who were once just like you.
In every Monopoly box, there's $20,580 in Monopoly money. When you're playing the game, part of the fun is wishing it was real. This time for you, it is $20,580 in real money.
Use this to help bring this invention or any future invention to life.
Go, Gerd, be who you are, and bring this word some change, Monopoly.
Well, thanks to a visually impaired man named Matthew Schifrin, LEGO is now launching 4 sets of their building bricks for others who are visually impaired. The set comes with Braille and audio instructions. Here he is telling them about how he was given Braille directions and how he knew that they had to be shared.
The text-based instructions began when a family friend of mine gave me this big cardboard box and this big fat binder. In this big cardboard box was an 821-piece Prince of Persia castle, and in the binder were these text-based instructions that she brailled on a Braille typewriter by hand. I realized that I really couldn't keep these instructions to myself.
Now the helicopter center on top of the landing skids.
All right, well, here's a two-parter for you. May bring a tear to you. Back in February, a ton of celebrities and other people for whom Gary Sinise has helped in some way recorded thank you videos to show their appreciation for all his good deeds, calling him a hero and an inspiration. The Gary Sinise Foundation made the video honoring him for 40 years of helping people in the armed forces, veterans, and first responders. They got a bunch of people to help, including Jay Leno, Ron Howard, Kelly Pickler, Colin Powell, Tim Allen, Rob Lowe, Robert De Niro, Robin Roberts, Judd Apatow, is that?
Or Apio?
No.
Apatow?
Apatow.
I don't.
And obviously, I don't know him. All right.
Neither do I.
Tom Hanks, along with Medal of Honor recipient, Gold Star families, and others. Here's part of that.
Hi, Gary. Jay Leno. Just want to say thanks for all you do for the men and women of the armed forces.
Your commitment, your dedication, your effort, you are awesome.
You are greatly appreciated coast to coast in the U.S. and base to base across the globe.
Thank you for all the things you have done for our young men and women who have served their nation.
It's really heartwarming and so incredibly meaningful, all of the amazing things that you do.
You motivate other people.
More than anything, thank you for everything that you do for our warriors, our men and women all over the world.
The work that your foundation has done, especially with the Snowball Express, will remain a meaningful part of these young people's lives forever.
You're doing the right thing because you truly care for us, and that means so much to me and everyone else in this Gold Star community.
As a proud military brat, that's my daddy, I want to say thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant Dan.
Congratulations on all of your incredible work. I am talking very fast because you have a lot of people to get to.
Thanks, Lieutenant Dan.
I can't believe Robert De Niro had enough time left over from effing Trump all the time to do this. F you, Robert.
Well.
Anyway, Gary Sinise reacted to the heartfelt thank you video.
How does it make you feel?
I'm in shock.
You have impacted a lot of lives. And they all just wanted to say that they're grateful for you.
That makes me feel really good. I didn't see that coming. Hey, are you videotaping? Oh, my God. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I think they plucked a heartstring or two.
Yeah. Well, he does. He's out there all the time, and he doesn't advertise it.
And he doesn't charge.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, that's not his purpose. He's there strictly to do what he can for somebody else
and raise money for the those affected.
Right.
Anna Faris got rudely catcalled in New Zealand once, and when she told the story on a talk show, the country reached out and told her she was no longer welcome there. She wrote an apology letter, and she added, quote, "We have a lot of ding-dongs here in America as well." Anna told the story on Justin Long's Life is Short podcast. Here it is.
I went to this concert, like the producer invited me to, and I left early. So I was walking back, and this car drives by, and they, like, these dudes yell out, like, "Show us your." And then another car drove by and said something like we want your or something like that.
Oh, my God.
So it felt like, what is up with that? But I could handle it. Anyway, I recounted this story on the George Lopez show, and then I got a letter from the Minister of Tourism of New Zealand that I was no longer welcome.
What?
In their country. So then it became a whole thing. I wrote a letter saying, like, I apologize. You have an amazing country. Like, it was so silly.
Oh, my God.
But at the very end of that letter, I said, P.S., we have a lot of ding-dongs here in America as well.
Yeah, that's weird. You know, she gets insulted as she's walking out of a place. And I mean, you know, the old Minister of Tourism ought to be more concerned about that than her leaving earlier or whatever her offense was to the New Zealand country.
Let's see how good you are with knowing a voice. Semi-famous person released his cover of "Open Your Eyes." Here he is singing it. Who is it?
Television cannot lie. Controlling media with smoke screen eyes. Nuclear politicians' picture show. The acting's lousy, but the blind don't know. Open your eyes, see the light.
Give you a hint, he loves Burger King.
Adam Sandler.
No?
I have no clue.
David Hasselhoff.
Oh, no. Oh, does he? Okay, yeah. All right,
remember we got drunk in the hotel room with Burger King
right.
hamburgers?
Yeah, he's still big in Germany, I guess.
Yeah.
He can draw a crowd.
What else I got? Oh, yeah. DeMarcus Lawrence of the Dallas Cowboys rejected a young kid who asked for his autograph. The kid was decked out in New York Giants gear, including a Saquon Barkley jersey. DeMarcus walked past the kid and says, quote, "Get the right jersey, son."
Get the right jersey, sir.
All right, so he stiffs the kid, and then he doubles down and says he's not sorry for rejecting the kid who wanted an autograph because he was wearing a Giants jersey. He said kids need to get used to being told no, and, quote, "He'll be okay."
There's nothing wrong with, a person telling you no. He's going to hear a lot of that in life, so y'all just get used to it. I know my kids hear it every day, so it'll be okay. I mean, I sign hundreds of autographs, but I can sign autographs when I want to. That's my choice. The kid will be okay, trust me. I know. If not, then I'll write a public apology to him for hurting his feelings. Other than that, hopefully he get a DeMarcus Lawrence jersey for Christmas.
Yeah, great English. Why don't you go back to school?
Not likely. Not likely he'll ever have a DeMarcus Lawrence anything.
Let's see. How much time I got? Not nearly enough. So we'll have to hold it over to next hour. Yeah, just ask me about my John Snyder story. When you get snubbed, sometimes it'll come back to bitch slap you.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you don't hear John Snyder in the oldies rack anymore, do you? No.
No, I don't think
there's a reason for that.
No,
and he's sitting right here, 8 o'clock.
The temperatures are on the rise. We're going to feel more heat this afternoon, and especially so for the day tomorrow. But we're watching a backdoor cool front moving down the east coast that could bring a better chance for storms by Friday and a little break from the heat. Later this afternoon, it's partly to mostly sunny. The highs reaching the upper 80s to low 90s, so warmer than what we had yesterday. Mostly clear tonight with upper 60s to about 70. Tomorrow, it's hotter, low 90s, but we do have a 30% chance for late-day storms. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sand Hills, 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM, WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A big night for Republicans. That's how President Trump describes the outcome of two special elections in North Carolina. Republican Dan Bishop wins the race in the 9th Congressional District. Greg Murphy, the victor in the 3rd Congressional District contest. President Trump issues a proclamation for Patriot Day, marking the 18th anniversary the 9/11 attacks.
In the proclamation, the president says we solemnly remember the nearly 3,000 people who perished 18 years ago and says we will never forget those who made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our liberty and freedom. Mr. Trump describes the attacks as cowardly acts of terror and says America demonstrated to the world the unmatched strength of our resolve and the indomitable power of our character.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston on this 18th anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. Beverly Bass, a former American Airlines pilot, is featured in a new documentary about planes and passengers diverted by the World Trade Center attacks to Newfoundland. It's called You Are Here. And Bass tells SRN News that the terrorism experience did not deter her from continuing to fly for 7 more years.
I was never going to let the trauma of that day affect what I loved so much. I told my parents when I was 8 years old I was going to be a pilot, and I was not going to let that change my love of aviation and airplanes. So I flew for 7 years after 9/11. I did retire early. I was only 56, but not many people get to say that, so I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
Beverly Bass and others featured in a new Fathom Events documentary about 9/11 titled You Are Here, which is in selected theaters nationwide today. Well, now that John Bolton is out, President Trump says he expects to name a new national security advisor next week. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 44 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
couldn't sleep at night. All I could think about was my credit card debt.
I knew I couldn't get a loan, so the thought of owning a home or a new car seemed totally out of the question.
I was afraid to answer the phone, and I dreaded the mail.
It just felt like my credit card debt was this deep pool, and I was just drowning in it.
This might be you right now, and you should know you're not alone.
There is hope.
Right now, certified counselors at Trinity Debt Management are standing by and ready to help you, not judge you.
One call to 1-800-990-6976, and you'll find hope to live your life out from under the weight of credit card debt.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment.
Put a stop to late fees and over-limit charges, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
If your debt has you down, we should talk. Call 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Turned out to be anything but politics as usual for Israel's leader as he stumped for re-election. The Media Line's Charles Bieblazer explains.
Israel's prime minister was rushed off stage Tuesday night during an election campaign rally in the southern city of Ashdod, which had come under rocket fire from the Gaza Strip. A live video stream of the event showed Benjamin Netanyahu heading toward the exit of the building with bodyguards who had surrounded him immediately after sirens were set off in the city. Gaza-based terrorists fired the two intermediate-range rockets at Ashdod, which is located approximately 30 miles from the shared border. The Iron Dome defense system intercepted one of the projectiles, while the second landed in open territory, causing no injuries or damages. In response, the Israeli military struck 15 Hamas terror targets in the Gaza Strip. I'm Charles Bieblazer, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com. In light of hundreds of cases of lung injuries, health officials nationwide urging people to stop vaping.
Federal health officials are linking about half a dozen deaths and 450 cases of lung injury with the use of vaping devices. Houston's health authority, Dr. David Pearce, says they've had several teens hospitalized.
It needs to be thought of as an injury to the lungs caused by something in the vaping. It is not an infection. It does not respond to antibiotics.
He says this is something new, and it's serious.
Parents, you need to look out for your kids, find out what they're doing, educate them that this is dangerous.
Researchers are looking for the cause and, in the meantime, urging prevention. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Severe weather, including a probable tornado, has left a trail of damaged buildings, power lines, and trees in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Reports of a few injuries, but no word of any fatalities. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, this is Steve Peter Adams. How would you like to treat your office to a free lunch? Well, log on to WEEB990.com and register your office for the Jersey Mike's Sack of Subs. We'll pick a lucky winner each Friday morning, and lunch is on us in Jersey Mike's that day. That's WEEB990.com.
So what makes Jersey Mike's special? It starts with the bread, baked fresh throughout each day. Next, high-quality meats and cheeses, sliced individually for your sandwich. Jersey Mike's. Taste it, and you'll see it really is a sub above.
There are a lot of good dentists out there, but there are only a few great ones. When my good dentist retired last year, a friend of mine recommended Dr. Joseph Skladany at Dental Design Innovations. Dr. Skladany turned out to be one of the great dentists. After a round of x-rays, he showed me an incisor with a lot of tooth decay and told me if I did not get it root canaled and capped immediately, I would lose the tooth. Funny, my good dentist didn't tell me this. His staff set me up an appointment for the next morning with the endodontist, followed by an appointment with Dr. Skladany. And by noon that day, I had a permanent cap in place, custom made by computers for a perfect fit. In addition to full general dentistry services for the entire family, Dental Design Innovations offers cosmetic procedures, restorative care, partials and dentures, and oral hygiene. If you're ready to move up to a great dental experience, I highly recommend Dr. Joseph Skladany at Dental Design Innovations. Give him a call, 215-4554, or online at drskladany.com.
Need new flooring, but you're just not sure where to go? Trust JV Short Carpet One, the area's flooring experts for over 80 years. A locally owned family business. You can depend on JV Short Carpet One for attentive, knowledgeable sales consultants, quality installation, and competitive pricing. Carpet, tile, laminate, wood, and vinyl flooring. JV Short Carpet One has it all. And many styles are on sale right now with special financing available. JV Short Carpet One, Highway 1 North between Southern Pines and Vass, or on the web at shortcarpet1.com.
Hey, Sandhills, it's Anthony from Champion Car Car Wash and Detail Shop. We've been getting a lot of requests for information, and I'm proud to announce that we've launched our new website where you can find details about all the services we offer, how to get in touch with us, hours, and where we're located. Visit us at www.championnc.com. That's www.championnc.com. While you're there, take a look at the photo gallery of incredible cars that we're trusted to care for on a daily basis. That's Champion Car Wash and Detail Shop in downtown Southern Pines near the corner of Morganton and Broad.
From the WEEB Community Calendar.
This is Vicki Smith at the Village Chapel in Pinehurst. The 10,000 Villages International Craft Fair Sale is back. Artisans' handcrafted products come from 35 countries: Africa, Asia, Mexico, and South America. There's jewelry, blankets, baskets, children's toys, and more. The 10,000 Villages International Craft Fair Sale is Friday, September 13th, 6 to 9 p.m., and Saturday, the 14th, 9 to 2 p.m. Go to 10,000villages.com and the Village Chapel at tvcpinehurst.com.
Are you tired of trying to get a handle on your water chemistry? Is your pool green every time you turn around? Is your spa water cloudy or foamy? Well, Southern Tropics Pools and Spas can help. We offer free water testing and have the experience and knowledge to keep your water sparkling clear all year long. We sell the highest quality chemicals, formulated without fillers or binders. No gimmicks, no Band-Aids, just results. We're across US 1 from the new Ford dealership, right between Gulf Augusta and the Smoke Inn. Southern Tropics Pools and Spas.
NCN News. I'm Mike Rayleigh. A Republican victory in North Carolina's 9th District last night as Dan Bishop beat Democrat Dan McCready in a special election. Bishop, in his victory speech, took a page of President Trump's playbook.
We must secure our borders once and for all.
Down east, Republican Greg Murphy is the winner of the 3rd Congressional District race over Democrat Alan Thomas. Murphy tells WITN News he spoke with the former Greenville mayor.
It was quick. It was brief. He conceded and offered his support and whatever we can do to help the people of eastern North Carolina.
Americans today will mark the 18th anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks with ceremonies at 3 locations of the tragedy: Ground Zero in New York City, the Pentagon, and a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. New York schools will start today with a moment of silence. CBS's Mara Rubin has more.
Governor Andrew Cuomo signed the moment of silence law to encourage dialogue among students. He said the brief moment of silence on the anniversary of the attacks will help ensure we never forget, not just the pain of that moment, but of the courage, sacrifice, and outpouring of love that defined our response.
President Trump has fired National Security Advisor John Bolton over disagreements on policy and tweeted, as did others in the administration. CBS News' Fran Townsend tells us Bolton's ouster wasn't all that surprising.
John is a very principled guy. And I think going in there, he understood that there might come a point in time where he and the president just didn't agree on a policy approach.
A Hickory man has been charged in a shooting by his child who kicked his gun holster and wounded the child's mother. 23-year-old Adwan Naaman Walker is charged with carrying a concealed weapon. North Carolina will get some much-needed money to help with mounting repair costs the state has incurred in response to devastating hurricanes and other storms. This is the federal government. You're listening to NCN News.
The annual Big Tailgate Tour, driven by Continental Tire, is on the road again.
When ECU hosts William & Mary on September 21st, find our Continental Tire Toss at Stadium Sports, where 14th Street meets Charles Boulevard near Downey-Ficklin Stadium.
Pick up free koozies, t-shirts, and more from Sport Clips and Continental Tire. Remember to drive with care on your Continental tires and experience the ultimate MVP haircut at Sport Clips.
Tailgate with us, BigTailgateTour.com.
You're no stranger to hard work. If you were, you wouldn't be here. But is here really where you want to be? Whether you're done just making ends meet, ready to start a new career, or want to go farther in the one you have, North Carolina community colleges are ready for you. They have the courses, real-world learning opportunities, and partnerships with local businesses to get you the education you need and the career you want. Stop settling. Choose a higher education focused on getting you hired. North Carolina Community Colleges, your higher education.
A court-ordered directive for more openness in North Carolina's redistricting is leading to actions directed at improving public access and transparency. State House and Senate redistricting committees on Tuesday started live streaming their meetings. The cleanup continues after an EF2 tornado spun up by Hurricane Dorian wiped out the Boardwalk RV Park on Emerald Isle. John Fleck lives nearby and spoke with Spectrum News.
This place on last Thursday was a war zone.
The streets were full of debris. It was a true mess.
Fred McLeod's passion poured through the TV no matter what game he was covering. The sportscaster died suddenly this week.
He was known in sports circles nationwide.
Till then, thank you for staying up with us. Good night.
Longtime sportscaster and announcer Fred McLeod has died. He did play-by-play for the Cleveland Cavaliers for 15 years following a long stint with the Pistons. He called Cleveland's NBA championship in 2016 and told his cameraman to keep rolling when Stanford's band was on the field back in 1982. McLeod also served as a TV announcer for the Indians and Tigers. The Cavs say he died suddenly, but did not elaborate. He recently celebrated his 36th season in broadcasting.
Version of the Final Four.
Fred McLeod was 67. Matt Piper, CBS News.
New illnesses in Texas, possibly related to vaping, have prompted new health warnings there. CBS News correspondent Steve Futterman.
Houston is one of the latest cities where officials are issuing warnings. Health officials here report 3 teenagers have been hospitalized in the past month, all with serious lung illnesses. Not far from here in College Station, Texas, a student at Texas A&M remains in the intensive care unit, and health officials anticipate the number of deaths and illnesses linked to vaping will continue to rise.
Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
With a ridge of high pressure sitting over the southeast, a lot of folks are going to be hot later on today, including us. Partly to mostly sunny this afternoon, humid, upper 80s to low 90s, those highs. But with the heat index, it could feel more like the mid and upper 90s. Tonight is mostly clear, upper 60s to about 70. Tomorrow, there's about a 30% chance of an afternoon and evening storm, partly cloudy otherwise, but hotter, all of us in the lower 90s for our highs. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
Right now, here in the Sand Hills area, it's foggy, 69 degrees. Humidity max at 100%. Dew point up at 69. Pressure 30-30. Winds calm. Visibility is at 3 statute miles. It's 8:13. Let's take a look at your Sand Hills news for this Wednesday hump day. Work is underway this week to install new handicap ramps at the intersection of North Bennett Street and West New Hampshire Avenue in downtown Southern Pines. The site is one of 79 locations around the town identified for federal funding to bring the sidewalks into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. The project is primarily funded through the Transportation Alternative Program, also known as TAP, which provides federal funds that are coordinated through the state's Department of Transportation. Sidewalk ramps on state-maintained roads are improved at state expense, while those town-maintained roads require a 20% local match. For a site to be eligible for TAP funding, it must be requested by the local government. Earlier this year, Southern Pines Town Council approved $40,000 match to install or retrofit 79 intersections with handicap ramps and to improve short sections of sidewalk with ramps to create a continuous path. Many of the intersections identified for funding are located in downtown Southern Pines, including along Bennett Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. And 2 people were arrested for concealment of a woman's death, according to an advisory from the Sheriff's Department. Ashton Taylor Potter, 23 of Cameron, found deceased by authorities in July at a home in the 600 block of Red Hill Road. Detectives investigating the case determined that the 2 individuals were present when the victim was found deceased and failed to notify law enforcement of the death. Jeremy Huston Holder, 34 of Sanford, and Heather Lynn Chastain, 20 of Cameron, both arrested Sunday. Both suspects were each charged with felony concealed to or failed to notify death of person and felony aiding and abetting the concealing of a death. The cause of the death is still pending. Both suspects were placed under a $75,000 bond. That's your latest Sand Hills news this morning, but stand by. Here comes your latest in sports right here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. It is 8:17.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. The LA Dodgers earned a 7-3 win at Baltimore, and in doing so, clinched their 7th consecutive NL West title. They also became the first team this season to lock up a playoff berth. Dodgers shortstop Corey Seager homered twice and drove in 5 runs. He said winning the division never gets old.
Every year is obviously exciting. You can't ever take it for granted. You know, it's something that doesn't always happen. Even though we've won 7 in a row, you know, it's never a guarantee. So you always enjoy it and you always be in the moment.
The Phillies homered 5 times in a 6-5 win over the Braves. JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, and Corey Dickerson went long in the first inning. Then in the third, Scott Kingery hit an inside-the-park solo homer. The call courtesy of MLB.com.
Out to center field. That's well hit. Acuna is going back to the fence. Does he have a chance? He jumps, and he dropped the ball. It's kicked around.
He better get it in. Kingery's gone.
The throw to the plate by Albies is not in time. Scott Kingery.
The Twins blanked the Nats 5-0 to stay 5 games ahead of Cleveland atop the AL Central. Rookie Zach Plesac allowed 4 hits in his first complete game as the Indians stumped the Angels 8-0. They stay a half game behind Oakland for the second AL wild card. And the Athletics, they set a season high for runs in a 21-7 thrashing of the Astros. The newest receiver in New England, Antonio Brown, is being accused of rape. CBS News correspondent Laura Podesta reports.
Brittany Taylor is a former gymnast who Antonio Brown first met when the two attended Central Michigan University. She filed a federal lawsuit in the Southern District of Florida. In it, she claims the incidents happened in June of 2017 and May of 2018 when Brown was with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Brown has denied the allegations. The Patriots say the NFL is launching an investigation. This is NCN Sports.
There are millions of unused and leftover opioid pills in North Carolina alone, enough to stretch from the mountains to the coast. These powerful prescription pills are contributing to an epidemic that takes 5 lives every day. But there is something more powerful than opioids. All of us. We can take back our extra pills and ask our healthcare providers about alternatives for pain. Together, we can take back our communities. Learn how you can help end the epidemic at morepowerfulnc.org.
Medicaid expansion, school safety, a statewide bond package, the next state budget. North Carolina lawmakers are tackling these and other topics. You can follow all the action with Carolina Journal. How would these proposals affect you, your wallet, your family? Carolina Journal offers answers. Available each month as a free newspaper. Every day online at carolinajournal.com. Carolina Journal, your best source for government news that affects you. Visit carolinajournal.com today.
Friday's North Carolina Wake Forest game will pit brother against brother in the Demon Deacons receiver Sage Surratt and Tar Heels linebacker Chad Surratt. The two former in-state recruits have never competed against each other in organized sports, but they are likely to be on the field at the same time during the matchup of the 2-0 teams. Sage Surratt is one of the ACC's leading receivers, while Chaz is a former quarterback for the Tar Heels who moved to linebacker in the spring. A former Adidas consultant who became a key government witness in a college basketball corruption case has been sentenced to 1-year probation. Thomas T.J. Gasnola received the term on Tuesday in a federal court in Manhattan. He pleaded guilty in a scheme to funnel secret payments to the families of top recruits and agreed to testify against a former Adidas executive and 2 other defendants at a 2018 trial. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Opioid addiction is a crisis in Moore and surrounding counties, but there is a local doctor, Francis Corrigan of Solace Health, helping patients in recovery.
At Solace Health, we have had a great deal of success with opioid addiction treatment using medications such as Suboxone on an outpatient basis. Treatment is low cost as we accept all insurance, including North Carolina Medicaid. The treatment occurs in a very pleasant and private outpatient office setting where patients are treated with compassion and dignity. If you or your loved one needs help with opioid addiction or other drug or alcohol problems, please call us to speak to one of our nurses about our treatment program. We also have extensive experience in transitioning patients from methadone programs to Suboxone outpatient treatment.
Solace Health is located at 285 Olmsted Boulevard in Pinehurst. Call 910-295-7246. All calls are confidential. 910-295-7246 or visit recovermore.com. M-O-O-R-E.
Whether it's fleet maintenance, auto body and collision repair, or scheduled maintenance, Aberdeen Speed Shop can do all of your repairs. You have a choice. All we ask is you come in and meet us and see what we do. We invite you to browse our shop and see the different stages of premium restorations we do for Sandhills classic car owners. The care we put into those restorations and the corresponding trust those owners put in us is also reflected in our Speed Shop maintenance. Reputation is everything in this business, and it starts with getting comfortable with your car doctor. So stop by for an introduction or just to talk cars. Aberdeen Speed Shop, Highway 211 in Aberdeen. Google us or give us a call for directions. 365-9974. That's 365-9974. Once again, 365-9974. Aberdeen Speed Shop. Let's roll.
Do you have chronic pain issues but hate the thought of addictive opioids or harmful over-the-counter drugs like Tylenol or ibuprofen? Well, by now you've probably heard about cannabidiol oil, or CBD for short, derived from industrial hemp plants and grown right here in North Carolina. Hemp-extracted CBD oil has been shown to have little to no side effects, but help with issues such as chronic pain and inflammation, anxiety, depression, sleep regulation, and more. It's healing without the high, and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg to benefit from it. Stop in at Flowland in Aberdeen to discuss how CBD oil can help benefit you. Flowland offers high-quality products at the lowest prices on the market. Flowland, serving Moore County for almost 2 decades. Located on US 1 next to Allstate Glass in Aberdeen. Call 910-757-0244 for more information.
It's the 73rd Annual Moore County Fair, Tuesday, September 24th through Saturday the 28th. Agriculture exhibits, midway rides, and great food at the Moore County Fair. Gospel groups every night on the stage, and SmackDown Wrestling Wednesday through Saturday nights. Gates open weekdays at 5 and Saturday at 3. $6 admission, age 3 and over, and $2 parking. The Moore County Fair, September 24th to 28th at the Fairgrounds in Carthage. Students are free on Tuesday, the 24th.
Hi, my name is Bill Lozer, president of the Moore County Shrine Club, and thanks to the courtesy of radio stations WEEB 990 AM, 97.3 FM, and 104.1 FM. The Moore County Shrine Club will conduct our 52nd annual fish fry in support of the Shrine Children's Hospitals. 52 years ago, a group of Shriners rebuilt a hurricane-damaged trailer and installed gas burners from an old tobacco barn to cook our fish and fries. Our Shrine Club is proud to continue this tradition, helping crippled children. We are located on Highway 15501 at Roman Eagle Masonic Lodge in Aberdeen near Bernie's Hardware. The Shriner Fish Fry will be conducted on September the 13th, 2019 between 10:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. Fish fry tickets will be available from any Shriner for $8 per ticket, and you may dine in or carry out. The Shriners will deliver to your place of work an advance order of 10 or more meals. Again, my name is Bill Lozer. If you have questions, please call me at 759-0571. Please remember, the date of the fish fry is September the 13th between 10:30 and 7 p.m. Please come join us, and thank you for all your continued support.
Another fantastic season is about to begin at the historic Temple Theater in Sanford. I'm Peggy Taphorn, producing artistic director, and we are gearing up for our season of more. Now is the time to get your tickets for a season full of more live music, more dancing, and more hits. The season kicks off with the Dickens classic Oliver, followed by the world premiere of Hoagie Carmichael's Stardust Road. In December, we'll serve up another helping of the Church Basement Ladies series with the Christmas show, Away in the Basement. There will be more laughs and music all season long, including The Last 5 Years, Steel Magnolias, plus another world premiere of Jason Petty's Every Song Tells a Story, all leading up to Mamma Mia to wrap up the season next spring. The Temple Theater offers the most flexible season ticket packages around. Get 4 tickets to use in any combination you want for just $108, or choose 7 tickets, again, use them in any combination you want for just $175. Visit templeshows.com to get yours today, and we'll see you at the Temple.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. Men and women were at work, normal, everyday people. People who had families, people who had no reason to suspect they were in any danger. They had all the happiness and all the sorrows any of us have. But one day, in fact, in just a few hours, everything changed. Airplanes came from nowhere. No one saw them coming. No one even knew why they were there except to kill and destroy Americans. I'm talking about the completely unprovoked attack on Pearl Harbor. And decades later, we suffer another attack, a day we remember today, a day of mourning of all those lost in the unprovoked attack on our homeland by an enemy who still hates us and who we still fight. Just like Pearl Harbor, The losses we suffered that day didn't end there. We're still losing men and women daily in the fight against an enemy who wants to destroy us. An enemy fueled by a teaching of Islam that fuels hatred so deep it makes men want to annihilate us and wipe out our way of life. Our motto has become never forget. As for me, I can't get it out of my mind, nor do I want to. And while I'm remembering, I remember we have men and women right now, while I'm talking, fighting that enemy. I never fail to thank God for them. I also pray for their families who struggle with the agony of always wondering if they will ever see their loved one again. All I can say is God bless America, and thank you to all of you from the Zumwalt Zone.
The temperatures are on the rise. We're going to feel more heat this afternoon, and especially so for the day tomorrow. But we're watching a backdoor cool front moving down the east coast that could bring a better chance for storms by Friday and a little break from the heat. Later this afternoon, it's partly to mostly sunny. The highs reaching the upper 80s to low 90s, so warmer than what we had yesterday. Mostly clear tonight with upper 60s to about 70. Tomorrow, it's hotter, low 90s, but we do have a 30% chance for late-day storms. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the leader man. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And there's been another collision. Went straight into one of the Twin Towers. It just disintegrated instantly. It was the most awful thing I've ever seen.
It straightened itself out and dove to the other side and crashed right in. An explosion was so terrific it looked like it had dynamite in it.
There were people falling out of the sky. We were trying to get people away when the second collapse occurred, and I dove under a truck, so I don't know how I'm here.
Spent the year in combat. Never saw anything like this.
After the first tower collapse, we were back in there trying to bring people out. We knew the second one was about to come down, but we were lifting one person, and when it came down, we all just ran for our lives.
You wouldn't think the World Trade Center is going to come down.
It's like a bad movie to see the dust ball coming out of the Trade Center area to whip across the island. It's like people just running from it.
Can't describe it. It was just bad.
Down every street, every angle, every avenue, just a billowing cloud of smoke and people running frantic. And at that point, I turned and ran and didn't know where I was going, didn't know what to do. I called my wife on my cell phone, told her there was an explosion. I was on the 44th floor trying to get out. It took about 20 minutes to a half hour to get out. The stairway was crowded, smoky, and the lower floors of 10, 15 floors was water. So we were walking through water as firemen were walking up. And they were bringing people down next to us that were burned, most of their body. They're actually walking down. The people totally burned.
But it was just amazing seeing that second plane come. It looked like, first it looked like the plane was going to go right by the building, and then it just, boom, right into the building. It was just like an amazing, and a burst of flame came out the other side of the building. It was just amazing.
When the second plane hit, I actually saw the explosion. It was about 50 yards away from me. And I saw a big mushroom cloud of fire just right up in the air. And then once that happened, everyone started evacuating because we realized it was a terrorist attack.
We just saw people jumping out of the building, like
the World Trade Center.
Yes, the World Trade Center. We would just be like, "There's another one," and they would come out, another one.
Must have seen at least 8 people come down, which they look like paper dolls from being so high up coming down.
We saw the building collapse, and that's when we said, "Let's get out of here." We evacuated right away. As we were sitting there waiting, we saw the second structure collapse. And the chaos, people were just running, screaming, people were covered in dust.
All we saw was ambulances coming towards the World Trade Center, lines and lines of them with sirens going on, just coming one after the other.
I think the aftermath is going to be in anybody's comprehension. It can't be. I mean, this is horrible. People, life will not be the same.
Good morning and happy hump day to you.
You guys are hilarious. It's the best show on
radio.
I'm obsessed with this show. Good morning. Get that coffee going.
Hope you have a great Wednesday.
And let's have a great day.
Heard any good radio lately?
No, we heard your show, though. Have a great day, everybody. Let's have a great day.
Let's get this show on the road.
None of the better as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, it's showtime.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. It is time for Mornings with the Leader Man. I am Steve Leader Adams, along with the Colonel, retired Marine Colonel Jeff Drummond. Good morning, Colonel.
Hey, good morning, Moore County. I know we have an extended Zoom alt zones here this morning, and John's got quite a bit to talk about, so I won't go on.
Don't forget, of course, we are being heard and seen around the world on a live video stream. That's available right now at talk973.com. Top middle of the page is where it's located, and we'll get you there. If you're on a mobile device, fire up your YouTube and put Mornings with the Leader Man in the search. If you're on your mobile device just needing audio, then fire up one of your streaming applications such as TuneIn, iTunes, or Streama, and put WEEB into that search. And as always, that stream's available off of our website at talk973.com. Upper right-hand corner of every web page has an icon that says On the Air, Listen Live. Click it once and you're listening that quick. Weather for us today here in the Sand Hills area, well, for the next 10 days, it's pretty much going to be the same. It's going to suck. It's going to be hot and humid every day with temperatures around 90 every day. And heat indexes pushing the upper 90s every day with a chance of thunderstorms every day. So that pretty much covers it.
Your favorite weather.
Yeah. Right now around the Sand Hills, winds are calm, visibility 3 statute miles, pressure is 30.03, dew point at a sticky 69. It's humid, 100% humidity, and foggy and 69 still at the airport. And right here at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM and 990 AM WEEB. All right, it is 8:33, 33 past the hour. It's Wednesday, and that means John Zumwalt has come into the studio for the extended Zumwalt zone.
Well, good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
You played a very, very touching tribute just now for today, which is, of course, 9/11, and we remember the folks who died in that. It's such a touching time and such an emotional time because we all of us, we'll talk about that in just a second. I'll ask you where you were. But I remember where I was. I was at work, and I was an Army guy still. And I remember watching that. We watched one after another after another. And I had friends in New York City, cops, because of the work we had done there. And they actually called and said, hey, are you guys coming to help us? And we were just as powerless as they were. We had no idea what was going on. I'd like to particularly, this moment, mention Flight 93, guys who kind of get forgotten, the ones who decided they were not going to sit there and let the terrorists fly their airplane into another target. And they made the decision to attack. And they got together, and there's a new book out about this, about how they had decided to go into the cockpit and take that airplane away from the bad guys and do something about it. And, of course, their efforts were, some might say, not successful because a plane crashed in Pennsylvania in a field, but others would say they were successful because they kept it from crashing into another building. They made the decision to wait until they were not over a crowded area with a lot of people in it. What a heroic thing they did. What an amazing thing these people did. What a good lesson for us. Don't take it. Don't take it. Fight back. The book mentions that it is about the fellow who was one of the pilots in the aircraft that was sent up to shoot Flight 93 down and keep it from crashing into another building. The agonizing, terrible decision that had to be made, and it was actually made by Vice President Cheney who had the permission from President Bush, who was kind of out of touch with. They were in two different locations. And can you imagine what a terrible decision that was? Well, there's even more to it than you might think. The aircraft that were sent up there to intercept Flight 93 and keep them from destroying another building with a lot of lives was not armed. They had no munitions. And so the pilot had made the decision that he would have to fly into that aircraft and bring it down that way. And he had decided that that's what he would do in order to save lives. Talk about heroics. This man had decided that he would try to fly into the tail of that aircraft and bring it down, knowing full well that he would be killed as well. So that's a day we should never, not ever, ever forget, and not forget the folks who are still out there fighting for us. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination. The same hatred that brought those airplanes into our country, the same hatred is alive and well. And the only thing keeping us safe is our magnificent military, our law enforcement, our intelligence people who are gathering this thing. And I just pray for their safety, and I pray that we keep listening to them. Where were you guys, Steve and Jeff? Where were you when you heard about this?
Oh, me? I was at I was walking into the Joint Training Analysis Center there in Chesapeake, Virginia.
Now, when that first plane hit, most of us, including me, thought it was an accident.
Well, I wasn't watching the television, so I was down the hall doing something or other.
When did you realize we were under a terrorist attack?
Well, they dragged me into there was a bunch of people in the cafeteria on the second floor there, and there were some televisions in there, and here you need to look, you need to see, and I walked in, and all I saw was the smoke from the first building, from the first aircraft, and I was just dumbfounded. I think he was from the Netherlands. He said, it was a reported small airplane.
Yeah.
I said, that was no small airplane. That's, if that was an airplane that did that's a huge aircraft with a munition or something. At the time, I didn't know it was an airliner. But I said, that's no small aircraft. That's a deliberate something. I mean, immediately.
And then later on, when they actually fell, I will never forget that.
Yeah, I saw that
terrible,
too.
Terrible. Steve, where were you?
I was here at the station.
Right here reporting on it, huh?
And I was watching it on the TV. When I had just gotten off the air, and I went next door to watch the morning news out of L.A. and they were talking about the World Trade Center being on fire from a plane, and then all of a sudden you see a second one hit, and you go, "Boy, this is an attack."
And then the Pentagon, and then the one fell in Pennsylvania, and now we're all looking up, wondering. Yeah. And then, of course, Congress left town, and when they came back, I say this all the time, they joined hands in saying, "God bless Allah." No, they didn't. They sang, "God bless America." Right. God bless America, not someone else.
And somewhere in between, we've lost that. I don't understand why we're kowtowing to this group, to these individuals. I won't distinguish them with the word people. They aren't. But I don't know why all of a sudden we've just thrown that all up in the air and allow them to walk all over us. I don't understand.
It's a good question. When President Obama was president, he discouraged us from identifying terrorists as terrorists.
Right.
And when he
wouldn't say the word.
Yeah. When he said ISIS was not Islamic, well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is an Islamic group that hates our guts. Now, madmen out there who send me the text, we're not condemning all Islamic people. We are condemning Islamic terrorism. And, yes, we're condemning it, and it's out there, and it's alive and well, and they want to kill us, all right?
And they deflect with this white supremacist garbage.
Yeah,
deflect. Those people out there, too. But, the threat is trying to fly into your building.
Yeah. All right, let's change the subject just for a minute and keep it. I want to keep the memory of 911 alive.
Let me back up 1 second to something you said, that the plane that went up to intercept take out Flight 93.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they send one with ordinances on it?
Well, I don't know. Apparently they didn't have them sitting around. it's not something we anticipated. But it's a very moving story, and the guy talks about the fact that he was willing to kill himself to save other people.
In CONUS, in the continental United States at the time, you didn't have combat-ready aircraft sitting on strip alert or prepared and ready to go. You would have had to pull those munitions out of the storage, et cetera, and that takes way more time than was allotted. So you just didn't have time to put anything hot on those airplanes.
Well, would he have had at least machine gun?
No, they don't keep that ammunition on the flight line in the United States. At the time, they don't.
I'm sure they're ready now, but I don't have any inside information here.
I don't know. I wouldn't say if I did know.
Yeah. Well, let's change the subject. I want to talk about the press and how irresponsibly pathetic they are. And I'm not, just because I said pathetic, don't start thinking about the pilot.
Oh, okay. All right.
I want to talk
about
another. If you said
pathetic racist, we'd be thinking the pilot.
I want to talk about another pathetic news organization. And I don't know. I don't watch them enough to know if they're pathetic all the time. But they sure were pathetic in their coverage of the race between Dan McCready and Dan Bishop. Between Bishop and McCready, I should say. Now, McCready is a Democrat, and if you watch WRAL coverage of this, you would think they were saying, don't even bother to vote if you're a Republican. When they mentioned something about McCready, they would go to his headquarters and they would talk about McCready. When they went over to Dan Bishop's headquarters, they mentioned his name twice. There is no question, no doubt, you couldn't miss who the press wanted to win. Now, WRAL, are you reporters or are you campaign managers for this guy? The crooked press doesn't bother to report anything at all positive about Republicans. But you know what? He won. Dan Bishop won. And it was a great victory.
Pretty substantially.
Pretty substantially. And thank the good Lord, Donald Trump went down and campaigned for him. It was a risky move on Trump's part, some might say. But when's the last time you knew President Trump to shy away from risk politically? And when's the last time you heard him not say something? Yeah, Democrats, get the message.
He won by 96,000 votes.
Well, 9,600. How many votes was it?
This thing says 96,000.
If he won by 96, I don't know.
So over a lot of counties, that would be about right.
Well,
okay, all right. I thought you were talking about the McCready Bishop election. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry. He got 96,000 votes.
Yeah.
McCready got 92.
Yeah, it was about
50.7 to 48.7.
Right, it was roughly 4,000 votes, but that's still a pretty good margin. That's, today, if you're walking across the Board of Elections parking lot over there in that county, you don't have to worry about getting run over by somebody with a trunk load of uncounted ballots to try to make up 200 or 300. They're not going to make up 4,000 votes.
Yeah.
Well, the news is trying to make it sound like, it's just a bare win.
No, it was not. It was a pretty good, substantial win.
Because they were talking about how Trump dominated it by 16 points.
Right.
When he won that area, but
well, they've had 3.5 years or whatever to try to stump the polls, and they didn't do it. So that's all there is.
Well, if you're sitting around wondering what you can do for a veteran, and by the way, there've been a lot of folks killed, maimed, wounded. People walking around with one arm or one leg or none. And it's because they were patriots and they went and enlisted in the military after 9/11. And if you're wondering what you can do for veterans, and God bless our veterans, I mean, I love them. They go willingly into harm's way day after day and month after month, and they're out there. Texas Roadhouse today, if you love Texas Roadhouse like I do, and you can eat there from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And if you eat there, 10% of the food that you purchase, that money will go to the VFW post, our local VFW post. And that money is, a great deal of that money they raise is spent to help veterans in need. And it's a great way to support them, get a wonderful meal from Texas Roadhouse. So I hope you'll remember, again, 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock today on 911. Try to eat at the Texas Roadhouse, and remember, 10% of the food you purchase will go to the VFW. It's a great way to help. Let's get back to the schools. We're going to not let this go. Monday, we had a school board meeting. Two things happened of note, I believe. One, the school board, well, let me say, people appeared before the school board and spoke. I don't know if the school board hears them or not. We never get into any indication that they do. One little girl, a precious little girl, read a thing that someone had probably written for her, but I'm not sure. And when she finished, she was talking about her school and how wonderful it was, even though her school got a D like in David. It was a D school. And she said D stands for delightful. And people cheered, and they brought her up and had pictures taken with her. And they were so happy to have that little girl there to tell us that D stands for delightful. And that kind of has become I don't know what to me, that we have people going to school that thinks D stands for delightful. I wish I could have convinced my parents of that. My parents knew darn well what a D stood for, and they also knew what a belt was for when I brought home D's, which was a lot. There were several parents there who were concerned about the Aberdeen Pesticide School, APS, Aberdeen Pesticide School. But the most heart-wrenching, and I mean it was heart-wrenching, and I know of two mothers that I talked to that were watching this on the internet, and I'm not making this up, that were in tears after these two ladies spoke, particularly one of them. And they were talking to me afterwards, and they said, we've got to help these ladies no matter what it takes, even if we have to homeschool them ourselves or pick them up, whatever, we've got to do something for these two ladies. And they were African-American ladies, and they did not have a prepared speech, but you could not have given a more moving speech if you were Winston Churchill reincarnated. They spoke of one little boy who had sickle cell anemia, and the lady was so worried. She was so concerned, and she said, my little boy can't stand to have anything happen to him. This precious child who depends on us to send him to a school that is safe. This child has no rights at all except to go where we tell him to go, and he looks at us with complete trust in his eyes. And now every time I see a little kindergartner, first grader, wherever I see him at the store, I think we just can't do this. Now here was their concern. They've got to send this little boy to this school. He already has sickle cell anemia. His body's defenses are already way down, and according to the school board's own report, there is lead in the dirt on the playground. Now, granted, they're going to cover it up with 4 or 5 inches of dirt, they say, and put some mulch over it. Now, that is the playground. Do you know how much lead is acceptable according to every standard, EPA, standard that from pediatricians, the standard for how much lead we allow a child to come in contact with? And the answer is 0. 0% lead is allowed. Now, other chemicals you might allow 1% or 0.02. Lead is 0. So you're telling me that this mother has no cause for concern. This lady was just down. Now, you're thinking, well, let her send him to another school. She doesn't have the means. This African-American lady very clearly stated, and I've spoken with her, she doesn't have the means. She can't. She works. She has to work. She can't take off work, and she can't drive a large number of miles, even if she gets a waiver. And if she gets a waiver, let me ask you this, folks who are listening. If this lady gets a waiver, which, by golly, she should get anything she needs, but if she gets a waiver, what's the school board telling her? We're giving you a waiver because your son has sickle cell, and that school is dangerous. And so we're going to give you a waiver. So aren't you admitting, if you do that the school's dangerous? If you don't give her a waiver, well, shame on you. Shame on you for your pride and you're not helping this little boy out. I want to say again, I've said it on Facebook, and I'm saying this as respectfully as possibly can be said, the NAACP in Moore County, and I know you listen, please join in this effort. Where are you? Join in publicly. You've got 2 African-American ladies who told me they just found out about this about 4 days ago. 4 days ago from right now. And they found out about it, and they're so concerned. Where are you in speaking out about this? Because this school is being built, and the African-American community, the Hispanic community, and the poor white community are the ones who are going to have to go to this school. And you should be speaking out. It is a shame. It is a terrible, terrible shame. Now, I would like to say this. After this lady spoke, she was so moving and so powerful. And I thought, and I was watching it on the live stream, and I thought, they are not going to want to hear from this woman again because she's too powerful. Well, I found out afterwards that sure enough, 2 board members made a beeline for this lady, cornered her, and were trying to reassure her, oh, it's safe. There's nothing wrong there. Your child does not have to worry. Well, fortunately, another parent came up and told them that that was a lie, that it was not safe, and asked them if they were, well, we won't go into it, but she interrupted that. These ladies need to be heard and quit trying to shut them up. And I pray that the NAACP and the rest of the our African-American community will join us. And when I say us, who is us? It's the moms, the dads, the parents. We don't see color. There is no color here. A child is a child, a heart is a heart, and we're all joined together in that respect. It's just a shame that we're all so divided on this. This is an opportunity for us to come together as a community and just look at facts and figure out what's best for our kids. The second thing they did was to vote on the school board voted on a budget for the new school. The board voted for a budget for a school to be built over budget. Libby Carter, one of the school board members, said, well, I'll read this in my own voice. It's a shame to have to use the lottery money to build the school. Her point was, they had that lottery money, they'd had it saved up for emergencies. Well, that's good. That's good that you did that. I want to read one mother's response, and I'm going to read it verbatim, a quote. Here's a thought. Plan better. Budget better. Get real numbers when planning a project this size. Don't just depend on crying to the county when you need more money after you already spent 50% of the county budget on day-to-day operations for our schools. That's more, she says, than almost all the counties in the state, by the way. It is a shame, Miss Carter. Yes, it's a shame that when you were presented with all the projects and budgets and plans, you didn't ask more questions or get real business consultants to help you get an accurate budget in place. Businesses all over the world plan and stick to budgets. The only ones to blame in this fiasco are the leaders who voted for all of this. It's a shame, all right. Shame on you, and end quote. And I agree. Who to blame? Well, we've got to blame the school board. We pay Barath and Grimacy, but we voted for you to oversee what they're doing. This is just exactly like a Laurel and Hardy, Keystone Cops,
Abbott and Costello,
Jerry Lewis,
Three
movie.
Stooges.
Three Stooges, throw them in. This is the most ridiculous. We've got a bunch of kids in trailers, and $3 million is the last thing I read, the price tag for that, in trailers, taking up a park in Pinehurst. And we don't even have the money to build the school.
They've already spent the money on 2 schools that they were going to build 3 with. So they don't have the money for the 3rd school or very little of it.
Again, I've got to go back to Laurel and Hardy and the rest. They accepted a bid from Thomas Construction Group for $30.9 million. Now, how much over budget do you think that puts them? Any guesses?
No.
$2 million over budget. Right now, before we even start, they vote on something that's $2 million over budget.
I was going to say, when we have told them how to save $6 million right off the bat, simply by subcontracting it out, which we could do just like we did the detention center. Saved a bunch of money.
You know, Steve's been saying that over and over for a couple of years. He is dead on exactly right. And it's just exactly what they did with the detention center. And you can talk to former chairman of the commissioners,
Nick
Pacerno, about that very thing. Last year, this is how our Grimacy schools were graded. They had 8 Bs. I mean, a B, folks, is a 70 or above. The state just changed that so it would sound better. Now a B is 70% or above. Again, I wish it would have been that way when I was in school. We had 8 C schools and 4 D schools. We had no A schools. 4 of our schools changed their grading. 3 fell a grade. 1 gained a grade. Now, the district's total tally of schools doubled. The low-performing schools doubled to 4. Okay, I'm running out of time, but I want to say this. Nothing I ever say here should ever be construed to mean that I'm blaming teachers. I'm blaming our superintendent for this. That's his job. He can't get that right. He can't get schools right. I want to remind you, on the 23rd of September at Philly and Colts, we're going to have a meeting. I urge you, I beg you to attend. You're going to walk away with documentation in your hand. Each one of you will get it. And we are going to settle this, as I say, once and for all. This will be the end, or it'll be the beginning of a lot of trouble for a lot of people. There's so much to say, so little time, and I hope that you'll attend the 23rd in Philly and Colts. Mark that on your calendar. And WEEB will finally be able to tell you everything that we know and we've been talking about from the very beginning. Remember, the pitiful, pathetic pilot won't print it, but you do hear it here, and like so many things, news breaks here first, the real news.
All right, thank you, John, for another round of the extended Zumwalt Zone. As always, a lot of information there to soak in, and you can hear it again on the podcast, which we'll get up later today. Also, don't forget to support your mom and pop businesses, because they are the backbone of our economy here in Moore County. Your money will stay here, roll over, and create jobs when you give them first crack at your spending dollars. And don't forget also that millions of Americans have fought and they have died to give and protect the freedoms that you get to enjoy today. So live today worthy of their and their family's sacrifice. I'm Steve Leader Adams, and the Leader Man, and Nick and Colt the Dog. We'll see you at the hot, steamy dog park at 2 this afternoon.